All right, guys, I know that this project has been going for a little while, but I did kind of want to show you sort of how I started this off in OOTP, the new sort of secret video-only project. I wanted to sort of show you what steps I took to start this in OOTP so that you can look at them yourself and you can kind of understand how this works. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So go over here to our OOTP view. There we go. I'm up in the top right-hand corner as usual. And we'll go here to new historic game. Now, we don't want to enable challenge mode. And the reason why is because we need to have that commissioner ability. Why do we want to have commissioner mode on? Because something will screw up. Trust me. So we want to import complete history. We don't want the real minor leagues. We don't care about that. We're not going to do random players from all eras instead of real rosters. Every time I see that, I think that'd be a lot of fun. And it is fun to play with, but we're not doing that now. We want to have real stats. We want to base, I don't care so much about potential ratings. We're going to turn that off in a second. Everything wants to be is going to be based on the imported season, right? We will optimize it for single season replay. Now, you'll notice here that it will tell you lower these values by about 50% for better simulation results if you want to play with real-life transactions and lineups. This is where it will limit playing or adjust playing time to adjust hitters with fewer than X number of at-bats. You could take this off completely. 10 or 50% of this, I'm probably going to take it a little bit lower than that. We'll probably do this 50 at-bats or fewer. Weaken them with probably 20 at-bats or fewer. And for pitcher innings that we're going to adjust, probably 5 and 5 here as well. Something like that. There's not a whole ton of pitchers we're going to use and hitters we're going to use that are going to fall, prey to this. But, right, this sort of thing, I'm happy that it can be adjusted. It's not very well explained. All right, next step. And then you wait a little bit here for everything to load up. Database is being sorted out. And you can look at all of your fun quotes there at the top. Now, as you can see, of course, my screen is so large that it might not look the same as yours. It depends on the kind of computer you're using. We are going to use real historical transactions. We're not going to use real historical lineups. This is one reason why I need to be in commissioner mode, though, because, as you know, we have replaced the 62 Mets with the 1986 Mets. And because we've done that, I'm going to need to do the Mets transactions by hand. And I'm also going to need to make sure everybody else's transactions work correctly. That does mean that a whole bunch of 62 Mets players are going to basically be free agents and don't play for anybody. So they're just going to sit there, right? We don't want any minor leagues that'll screw things up. We don't want to require full minor league rosters. We don't care about that. We don't want that. We want disable player development. We can import automatic financial settings. I wish I could just turn it off, right? What we're really going to do here, though, is we're going to go over here to advanced mode, and that's when we're going to really start playing around with this stuff, right? So we'll go over here to teams. We'll just keep this the way it is. In a second, we'll change this up. All of these rules are going to end up being about the same. Player trades, we're going to disable because we have automatic transactions on. That should disable automatically, but whatever. We're not going to have an amateur draft. We're not going to have free agents automatically created, right? Financials, this will be imported automatically. It'll be fine. Go here for options. We do want to allow rainouts, and we do want to do some automatic adjustment of the schedule or whatever. We do want the All-Star game. It should be automatically scheduled. We'll use the real life as a scheduled schedule, as we usually do. And then a lot of this other stuff, whatever. You can turn it on. You don't have to have it on. It doesn't really matter. We do want the awards. Might as well. We can have the Hall of Fame voting if we want, so it is. A lot of that is set up for, larger type leagues. As far as fictional player settings are concerned, I'm not really going to touch that right now. We'll sort of keep this the way that it is. We're going to use sort of default settings. If weird things happen, we can always look at that and see what we should have done in the past. We're just going to make this as simple as possible. We want historical and real IL transactions. I'm surprised that these are two different files, but whatever. We don't want to have historical lineups. I don't like playing with them, and it's not going to make sense if we turn them on here. We will. Stuff like automatically expand league is not going to matter. We're going to play one season. Right? We're not going to worry too much about the rookie settings and all this stuff. We will do the double weight of current year stats. We'll do just 1 year here. It doesn't matter. Again, like I said, we're playing only 1 year. I wish OOTP had a 1 year mode. That would make this a lot more simple. Now, this is part of the thing that is a little controversial, right? So when you select just about any season in OOTP, and I know this is small, my apologies, typical starting roster size is going to be set to 5-man rotation. Is that correct for 1962? We probably want 4-man rotation. Right, starting rotation mode, we probably want start highest rested, right? We should allow starters in a relief, right? Because that did happen back then. I mean, this is one of the problems that we have with OOTP, right? Which is that the default settings and the settings everybody tells you are correct are usually actually not correct for history of baseball. That's the problem, right? There you go. We'll give this a name. We'll call this, Mets Time Travel. And then we will start our game. And for now, I am going to turn on commissioner mode. And I'm not going to worry too much about the rest at this moment because we're going to make a couple changes once this game started. Then you click on Start Game. OOTP is very, very confusing, right? As you've seen here, there's like a billion different things that you can choose. You can get really, really lost in the world of trying to figure this stuff out. There are some options that are hard to find on here, things like spring training and stuff like that, where it's kind of easy to like miss it, right? Opening day is tomorrow. This is exactly the way that we wanted to have it set up. And now comes the interesting part. So we go over here to our league settings. We go to leagues and teams. And I believe this is where we can import a team. Let's see if I'm in the right place or not. Yeah, no, that's not quite correct. There is a place in here where we will, if we want, we can import a team. And so I'll look around a little bit here and see if I can't find that. In fact, I'll pause this video for a sec, just a sec. All right, here we go. I found it. And yeah, a little bit of feedback for the OOTP team. Makes stuff easy to find. You have to go to League and Teams here. So we go first. I'll show you again. We go to MLB, then League Settings. Go over to League Settings up here. We want to go to League and Teams and then Edit League Structure. And then when you're in the league structure now, what you can do is you can take a team like this team and you can remove them. So we want to make sure we got the right team. Remove them. Yes, that will remove the Mets. And then we can add a new team, add a historical team. There we go. We're looking for the historical database.odb file. So this right here, if you're not aware of this, this functionality comes from older versions of OOTP where people would have multiple historical database ODB files, right? That was a thing at one point in time when people could edit the game basically as they saw fit. You can still do it today, but nobody does it because a lot of the functionality was taken away. It's a mess, and they never really fixed the mess, right? Anyway, yeah, it's been a long time since that's been a feature. We'll go over here. We want to go through 1986, refresh teams list. We want the 1986 New York Mets. And what do we want to do? We want to base the current ratings on real stats, base potential ratings on whatever, it doesn't matter. Everything's based on imported season. We're going to do the same thing that we did here. I can't even remember the numbers that I used, but I think it was 50 and 20, or maybe it was, I thought it was like 20 and 10 or something like that. Maybe it was 50 and 20. I think it stays the same for you. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. And the big question we have is, should we normalize player ratings against the neutral era? I don't really care. We'll just import this normally. I know, famous last words, this is probably going to have some sort of major detrimental impact on this team, but we'll import this anyway. And there you go. We have imported the team. Now it will come up as New York 1986 Mets. So we go here and we change that name, change it just to New York Mets, and there you have it. And they turn into ID number 23. So we have, you may have to rebuild the schedule, right? So we'll go over here and we'll look at the schedule. I'm trying to look and see if there's any place to save, and there is not. Good thing that there's not, because what if I did something wrong on accident? Thanks, guys. All right, edit league schedule, and we're going to import, let's see, I think we can import from file, and we're going to go all the way down to Major League Baseball 1962 AP, there it is. Load. There you go. Schedule successfully imported. Now, if things went correctly, we'll go look at the METs. And they should have a schedule, and they do have a schedule. Look at that. And it should be the same schedule that was there in real life in 1962, and that works automatically. And look at that. They have their pitching staff there, Darling, Fernandez, Gooden, and Ojeda. They have the lineup just like we like them. And now I don't have any of the automatically generated faces in there, which means that we probably have to go back up to our settings and regenerate all of the faces. Let's see if I can remember where that option is, right? All sorts of stuff like this here where it's like, oh yeah, you got to go back and you got to click on the thing again. You got to click on the other thing again. And you got to do this again. You got to do that again. And so it is. It's nice though. You can make it work. It just takes a little bit of finagling and a little bit of trying to, push things through one little thing at a time. But here you go, face gen. And we want all players. We want upon player creation. And actually, we could just do on demand, and we could update and generate everything. That should give us some of that. You can do the same thing with MLB, baseball cards, and all sorts of stuff like that. Isn't OOTP wonderful? All this functionality was added into this game. Functionality that I think is a good thing, right? But also functionality that unfortunately adds to the immense complexity of this game, and some of which is used only by a minority of players. I know I've said this before, and I'll say this again. What I really wish OOTP would come up with is like an alternate mode for people who just want to play a single season and who are not interested in being the GM and not playing out any games in actuality and just like having the game run in the background, right? It's nice to have all the GM stuff, but some of us want to play it differently. It would be nice if they would cater to those of us who want to play it differently. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take a look over here at the team home screen now and see if we have pictures. We do have pictures. We, however, don't have the proper caps and the proper setup and all that stuff. So we'll go back over here to league settings and we'll see if we can figure out where that is. There is another place on here somewhere in the settings. I think we can do this check. I think that will do it. And see if that has solved the issue for us. Let's take a look. No, it hasn't. So we'll have to probably do this a little bit offline and take a closer look. I bet you anything that this works for every other team in the league. For example, the Cleveland Indians, and we'll change their name, do have the correct uniforms and the correct pictures. Although the uniforms are actually also not right because you have the Nike swoosh. Anyway, though, you get kind of an idea of what happens here. This is a little bit long, a little bit rambling. That's kind of what it's like to start a new OOTP project. There's some other things we'll get rid of, like these star ratings. We're going to get rid of. It's meaningless, right? I don't want to do that. I know what I'm doing. I don't need like the stars to tell me. We'll get rid of like the base coach options and all that other stuff. There's a lot of little stuff that we'll do. Anyway, I'll talk with you later. We'll update you on more of this as we go through it. But that in pinch is kind of how you set it up, and you can also see some of the frustration that's involved as you set this stuff up. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.